Meanwhile, disturbing news tonight out of Mississippi, where new allegations are surfacing about dirty politics being involved in last week's GOP primary between Senator Thad Cochran and Chris McDaniel. And for more on that, and here with all the latest details about a lawsuit that was just filed, Fox and Friends first co-host, our friend Ainsley Earhart is here. How are you?
Hey, Sean. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. All right. So the allegations today, the list is long. Illegal voting, dirty campaigning, because the Cochran camp was accusing McDaniel's camp of being associated with the KKK, taking away food stamps from poor individuals, student loans, and taking away public schools. Then there's also the race baiting that we're going to talk about tonight. This is 1 week after the runoff election between the GOP two Senate candidates. And the primary was on June 3rd. McDaniel won by 6,600 votes, but he didn't get the 50%. So then they had to have the runoff last week on June 24th. And then Cochran won in that election by 25,000 votes. 35,000 Democrats voted for Cochran in the GOP runoff, which is very unheard of and very rare. So if he hadn't gotten those Democrats to run, which he's being accused of, or to vote, I should say, then McDaniel would have won the election.
Right. And there's also allegations of walk-around money. You have a Baptist pastor, apparently has a lot of credibility, saying that the Cochran campaign was paying, what, $15 a vote? Yeah,
that's exactly right. You have this pastor. His name is Reverend Steve Fielder, very well-known pastor. He lives in Meridian, Mississippi. He's accusing Cochran of buying the black community's votes. He says, first, he said this to an independent journalist, and then he says that he was part of this scheme. And he also goes on to say that Cochran's camp paid thousands of dollars to Democratic voters in the black community, paid them each $15 to go and vote and support Cochran.
$15. All right. There was also an allegation, and I know the McDaniel campaign, if you were a Democrat and you voted in the original primary.
Right.
And then crossed over. It's not legal for you to vote in the Republican primary at that point. And the McDaniel campaign believes that there might be thousands that, in fact, did that.
Yeah, exactly. So in the state of Mississippi, not every state's like this. You can vote as a Democrat in the Republican primary, as long as you didn't vote in the Democratic primary 3 weeks before. But what many people, this is why there's an investigation now. Today, it's been announced that there's a lawsuit. True the Vote has filed a lawsuit in federal court, and they're going to be looking into this. Illegal voting, and they're looking into indications of double voting, people that might have voted in the Democratic and the Republican primary. There were also some radio ads. Our producers have been working all day long. They uncovered 3 radio ads that were played on a predominantly black radio station, WGMO, in Mississippi. And the producers say that they're anti-Tea Party ads, they're anti-McDaniel ads. We're going to play some of them. But we spoke to the radio owner today, and he does confirm that these ads did air. He says that Stern Strategic Marketing paid for these ads, paid $672, and they're associated with the Citizens for Progress. They're taking responsibility for this. That's the super PAC that is related to Haley Barbour's campaign.
And they paid for this. And this is, do we have some of that?
We do.
All right,
take a listen to these.
Let's take these.
If someone tells you that by voting today you cannot vote in November, it's just a Tea Party bald-faced lie. Are you going to let the clock run out on today? By not voting, you're saying, take away all of my government programs, such as food stamps, early breakfast, and lunch programs, millions of dollars to our black universities. Everything we and our families depend on that comes from Washington will be cut. Mississippi will never be the same. The question is, will you spend $5 on gas to vote, or allow the Tea Party to set us back to the good old bad days? Vote against the Tea Party. Vote Thad Cochran.
Just to be clear, they are the owner of this radio station, because that's race baiting, is saying that this came directly from one Republican group that was supporting Cochran against another Republican?
Well, he told us who wrote the check, and at the end of each of those ads, it has to be, connected to a group, and the name of that group is Citizens for Progress, and that group is associated with Haley Barbour, who is
he's got some answering to do on this.
Yeah, exactly. So. We did reach out to both camps. Cochran's camp says they're denying all these accusations. They're saying these are baseless and that they're false.
Cochran's not, I don't believe that for a minute, but that's my editorial.
Right,
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
McDaniel's camp says that they're taking this very seriously, and they did send us a statement. Let me read the statement. It says, not including the votes which were allegedly bought by the Cochran camp, our grassroots volunteers have already found around 2,500 ineligible votes. That is, votes cast in the Republican runoff on June 24th by voters who voted in the Democratic primary on June 3rd. We are examining all the data that we can gain access to in order to launch a legal challenge, and our preliminary findings indicate that further investigation is certainly warranted. After we've examined all the data, we will make a determination about possible legal recourse.
Great reporting, Ainsley Earhart. Appreciate it. We'll be watching tomorrow morning. And as the fallout continues from the monumental Supreme Court decision